Using the toilet in ancient times was really risky. There were many strange incidents, such as an emperor dying by drowning in the toilet, and an emperor's wife being chased down the toilet by wild boars. Today, we will explore together how dangerous using the toilet was in ancient times. I'm a medieval toilet. Back then, Europeans built me very high. Once I relieved myself, the waste would be released and slide into me, making me a very noisy place. But let me tell you, that design was very dangerous. One night, a hunchbacked lord rushed to relieve himself in my confines. As he drew near, I spotted an assassin clad in black, climbing up the toilet passageway from the first floor. This intruder's intentions were clearly malicious, but I couldn't utter a warning. All I could do was watch helplessly as the assassin poked at the lord's nether regions with a spear. I even got lashed a couple of times during the scuffle. Can you fathom my feelings at that moment? I wanted to speak, but the words wouldn't come. My lord, my master, had his reputation tarnished in such an undignified manner, and I, too, inadvertently gained notoriety. If you're good at math, you can calculate the area of the psychological shadow I was experiencing at that time. Then, I traveled back in time to the year 1184, where Roman nobles were holding a party in a German town. It turned out that the living room where the party was being held was poorly built, and the floor collapsed. I don't know what the guests were doing, whether they were dancing or eating, but they caused the floor to collapse. Right beneath the wooden flooring was a huge pit for waste, and all the guests dropped into it like dumplings, one after the other. In the end, more than 60 people perished, drowned in the filth. Do you know how challenging it is to be a toilet? With everyone falling in at once, I was overwhelmed and flooded with their mess. How dangerous was it to use the toilet in ancient times? There were emperors who drowned in the latrine, and concubines who faced wild boar ambushes in the loo. These are no tall tales. Let's delve into these bizarre yet factual accounts. I am a toilet from the pre-Qing period, a time when people's productivity was low. Some city residents came up with the concept of fengjiang, constructing buildings with feces buckets for waste collection. However, if one didn't stand steadily above it, they could easily fall in. And that's exactly what happened. Jing Gong, the ruler of the state of Jing, had grand ambitions. Unfortunately, he suffered from diarrhea and rushed to relieve himself in my confines. In his haste, he misstepped and fell into the pit, ultimately drowning in the filth. This incident was even recorded in the historical annals of the Shurji. Both he and I became infamous because of it. You know, I believe that if a structure isn't designed safely, even the simple act of using the toilet can pose significant safety risks. But even that wasn't the pinnacle of peculiarity. Back in ancient Rome, they designed me with a strong emphasis on communal use, accommodating over 60 people relieving themselves simultaneously. Can you imagine the pressure I was under back then? Since the ancient Romans didn't use toilet paper, they crafted sponges affixed to sticks for wiping, placed right in the center of the toilet for all to use. Yes, they shared those sponge-on-a-stick contraptions. Some showed a modicum of civility by giving the sponge a quick rinse with running water, while others didn't even bother, opting to stash it away in their pockets and smuggle it home. The highly communal nature of these toilets facilitated the spread of various diseases among the ancient Romans. Indeed, using the toilet in ancient times posed significant health hazards. We've heard of emperors drowning in toilets and lords encountering assassins on the loo, but the most bizarre tales are yet to come. I am a toilet from the Victorian era, and you can't fathom the struggles I endured back then. Running water wasn't commonplace, and the plumbing within me was incredibly intricate. If the workers didn't clean and unclog me in time, the accumulation of toxic gases could have made me explode. The pressure within me would reach a critical point, and boom, I'd go off like a bomb. My cousins, the outhouses, had it even worse. They would sometimes explode one after the other, sending the users flying into the air. Later, I traveled through time to ancient China, where I became the best hiding spot for concubines fleeing wild boars. What happened next? During the Western Han Dynasty, Emperor Jing had a young and beautiful concubine named Jiaji. One day, they strolled together in the upper garden, surrounded by the scent of blooming flowers. Jiaji suddenly needed to use the toilet, so she headed straight towards me. I was delighted, but then, out of nowhere, a wild boar charged directly at Jiaji. The guards were unable to protect her in time. In desperation, Emperor Jing had a flash of inspiration and dashed into the toilet with Jiaji. After a short while, the wild boar sniffed around and slowly walked away. Such a thrilling episode earned me a place in the annals of history. Who would have thought that as a toilet, I would bear witness to such heart-pounding events? Are there any other bizarre ancient toilet tales that you know of?